Welcome to my channel. Today we are going to talk about how Mr. Peter Obi, the presidential candidate of Labour Party, can win the 2023 presidential election. Of course, there are people who think that Mr. Peter Obi has embarked on an impossible task. But here we are going to show the pathway through which Mr. Peter Obi will become the next president of Nigeria. Mr. Peter Obi is set to disrupt the political equation of Nigeria. He is set to disrupt the 2023 presidential election by emerging the winner as a dark horse. His disruption of the political equation of Nigeria will be compared to that of Emmanuel Macron, the president of France. In 2016, nobody gave Emmanuel Macron a chance that he could emerge the president of France. That was the year he formed a new party, La République, in March. But by 2017, he mobilized the youths of France and shook the foundation of France politics and emerged president. Mr. Peter Obi is set to do that if certain criteria are met. And these criteria, though tough, is surmountable. In fact, his campaign has been reminding me of the Obama's campaign in 2008. Of course, Obama ran on the bigger platform, the Democratic Party, but it was driven by the youths of America in an unprecedented way, the way the youths of Nigeria are driving the Peter Obi campaign. Recently, a colleague of mine went to go and obtain her PVC. When she got there in a part of Abuja, the crowd there was enormous. Many of them youths. The youths that were there said they were purposely there because they want to collect their PVC so that they can vote for Mr. Peter Obi. Many of them had never voted before. Many of them never thought it's necessary to vote. But this time around, they want to vote. They want to vote for Mr. Peter Obi. So it is that kind of sensitization, that kind of drive through which Obama won in 2008 in his first presidential victory. That is what is presently playing out in Nigeria. If you look at Mr. Peter Obi's Twitter handle, it has passed the 1 million mark followers since he left PDP, with his integrity intact. So all eyes are on him now and how it is going to be done. And Mr. Peter Obi cannot do it alone. He has to do it with this army of youths who are clamoring for him to bring the kind of change that Nigerians need. Because PDP and the APC cannot give any change. They are the same thing. The difference between PDP and the APC is the difference between Eba and Gary, or 6 and half a dozen. So how is Mr. Peter Obi going to do it? How is this going to be possible? First, Mr. Peter Obi has built the confidence of Nigerians by being a leader who has shown that he valued money and he doesn't believe in primitive accumulation of wealth. He has a lifestyle that can be emulated by the youths. Since he left government house, he's not on pension. They did not build any special house for him as other state governors are, former state governors are enjoying. He did not pass any special bill, any special law to take care of former governors, and he's not enjoying any perk of office. Outside office, he's just doing his thing. Mr. Peter Obi had been chairman of a federal parastatal, have been chairman of Nigerian Exchange Commission, Security and Exchange Commission. He has been chairman of Security and Exchange Commission. While he was there, he refused to collect salary or allowance. That's typical Mr. Peter. So it's not like your average politician, all those ones throwing around millions of dollars, obviously not earned through proper way, product of corruption and looting of state treasuries and federal treasuries. So that is one thing that is going for him. One thing that why people are moving closer to his campaign more than ever before, more than any other candidate in Nigeria today. Now, what are the ways that he can emerge president of Nigeria? One of the things that needs to be done first, and it has to be done by the supporters of Mr. Peter Obi, is to make sure that they register for the election. Make sure that they register to vote. If this army of supporters are not registered and are not with their PVCs, then everything is going to end up in vain. So for Peter Obi to succeed in 2023, 70% of his supporters, 70% of those who want him to be president of Nigeria must have their PVC. They must have their PVC. Nothing is more important than this. It is the most important thing for the supporters of P2B to do today as they listen to this. If you have not yet gotten your PVC, go and get it. If you have not, if you are a supporter of P2B, want him to be president, you must have your PVC. You must go and get it. If you have not registered, go and register so that you can get your PVC. That is the only way the supporters of Peter Obi can make the dream of putting him in the Aso Rock Villa in 2023 a reality. The first step is to register and have their voters card. So there should be a drive by Peter Obi support groups all over the country, a drive to register and obtain the PVC, because that is the only right they have to come out on the election day to cast their vote. This is very important. Now, before we go further, if you have not subscribed to my channel, please hit the subscription button, hit the notification bell, like our videos, share it widely, because when you subscribe to our channel, whenever we have anything new, you'll be among the first to know. God bless you. Now, having the ability to vote is the key, one of the keys to be becoming president. So all this army of supporters of Mr. Peter Obi, they must have their PVCs. If over 70% of Mr. Peter Obi's supporters have their PVCs, then they are ready to do the job that is necessary to put their man in Aso Rock Villa in 2023. Another thing that is very important to note is that the elections in Nigeria is always rigged. Rigging is a major challenge in Nigeria. Many of the people in PDP, many of the leaders of Nigeria today They are products of election rigging. And the APC and the PDP, they are the masters of the game. They will try to rig this election. So one of the ways to ensure that Peter Obi wins this election is to stop PDP and the APC from rigging this election. Now, rigging this election will be more difficult than it used to be for PDP and the APC because this time around, under the Electoral Act, there will be electronic transmission of results wherever it is possible. When I look at that section that says wherever it's possible, it gets one to be worried because it ought to be specific that everywhere election is to take place, it must be transmitted electronically. Now, how do you beat this challenge? How do P2B supporters beat this challenge of electronic transfer of results to make sure that all the results where they voted is transmitted electronically? What can they do about it? Now, the thing they have to do is to ensure that wherever they voted, they monitor the votes effectively to make sure that what is tallied is what is transmitted. So wherever they are, they have their cameras, their phone cameras. They need to take a picture of the results as they were being declared. This is to, when they snap these results, they will forward it to the Mr. P2B coordinating committee that is in charge of receiving all the results from all over the country, so that whatever is being transmitted to Abuja will tally with what was voted in all the polling units. This is to track the votes and ensure that what is going to Abuja electronically is actually what was voted. So when the P2B supporters need to use technology effectively, good enough, many of them are young and tech savvy youths. So they can use their phone. They can use their phone and snap and take a picture of the results that were declared where they voted and forward it to P2B's campaign at the collection center of P2B campaign, where all the results from all over the country should be passed through by P2B supporters in all the polling units where they voted. Now, this will help to keep in check the corruption tendency, the rigging tendency of People's Democratic Party and the All Progressive Congress. They follow this effectively, they'll be able to checkmate their tendency to rig. And they should also ensure that results are transmitted electronically wherever they are. But they can't force the process. But at least if the conditions are conducive, take record of what is happening in the to prove that actually there was condition enabling environment for electronic transmission of results. Because if there is a network in that area, you can receive phone call and you can do all kinds of Wi-Fi activities with your phone, with your laptop. Surely they should be able to transmit the results. They cannot tell you that they cannot transmit the results. So they have to do it electronically. So that will help to checkmate the riggings by the PDP and the APC. Now, one other way that will really be a challenge is the human factor. Over the years, smaller political parties have not been doing well because they used to buy up their agents. Party agents used to sell out to some of the big parties. So there is a need to ensure that there is money to fund the activities of Peter Obi campaign so that reliable agents who cannot be easily bought over by the PDP and the APC on election day are put in position and their needs taken care of. That also requires funding. It means that P2B supporters must find a way of raising money to fund their activities and enough money to fund what will happen on the election day. Because on the election day is the day that the APC and the PDP used to break the bank. They are ready to spend any amount on that day. They are looking for any agent of any political party who is not happy with the situation of things. Because when you put up an agent, he doesn't have money to do some of the things he needs to do, and all that, he became disgruntled. Then he's ready to be bought over by the highest bidder, especially when if the agents are the people who have already been part of the corrupt system of this country, who believe that the only way to succeed in Nigeria is to be bribed, is to be part of the corrupt system. So they can easily sell out and allow the opponents to do whatever they like with the figures. So that is why it is important that those who will represent the Labour Party and Mr. Obi are the as party agents in all the polling units must be people of impeccable integrity, people who are ready to sacrifice whatever PDP and APC will give to them to ensure that there is real change in Nigeria. Those are the kind of men that Labour Party and Peter Obi supporters must be looking for to act as agents, not agents whose eyes are on monetary acquisition, monetary accumulation, because that would be dangerous. If such characters constitute the majority, even if they are 30% or 20%, they are likely to do a lot of damage to the quest of Mr. Peter Obi to become the next president of Nigeria. So that issue needs to be addressed. Funding, funding, and the funding must get to the agents without passing through too many party officials who will cut it so much that when it now gets to the agents, it becomes a trickle and wouldn't make any much difference to them. So funding must be taken care of. Now, Mr. Peter Obi campaign is not going to be like the PDP and the APC campaign, where they are going to use government money to run the campaign. The Peter Obi campaign is going to be done, and it's already being done by voluntary contribution by supporters. So the funds needs to be managed effectively. If it is not spent on the right things, I'm afraid they will run out of fund and it will jeopardize the plans and the dreams of making Mr. Peter Obi the next president of the country. So like I keep on saying, the ball is in the court of the supporters because they have a lot to do. They are not like the supporters of PDP and APC who are hoping to get a lot of largesse from government coffers. At the end of the day, which is the reason why the country is the way it is today. Money that should be used for the development of the country are kept for political jobbers to rig election, to manipulate election, and to subvert the will of the people. So, if these processes are followed, adequate provisions are made with the kind of sensitization that is going on. Peter Obi imagine the president of Nigeria is very possible if these processes I have mentioned are followed adequately and there is commitment on the part of the supporters. Peter Obi is just the driver, but Nigerians, majority of Nigerians are the people that he's carrying along. He needs the support of Nigerians. Unless there is massive support from Mr. Peter Obi in terms of funding, in terms of support from all the groups, wherever they are, this is a very tough job to be accomplished, but it is doable. It has been done before. It is not rocket science. Emmanuel Macron did it in 2017 with a new party that was formed just a year before. Labour Party is already an old party. Looking at it now, there's a P2B that is a huge driver of the of the of the reform that Nigerians want in 2023. So the ball is now on the court of the supporters of Mr. P2B. Because if you look at some of the things I say they should do, that if they do it, Mr. P2B is likely to win the presidency of Nigeria in 2023. Basically, it's what they need to do. First, they must register. Every supporter of Mr. P2B must register and have his PVC. There must be a campaign for getting PVC, then coming out to vote, guiding the vote, because APC and PDP are master riggers, stopping them from rigging. The Electoral Act has already made it easier now with electronic transmission of results to ensure that there is no rigging of that process by taking pictures of the results as they were declared and sending it as WhatsApp, email to the OB collection center, because Mr. P2B, I believe, should have a collection center where all the results that are being declared all over the country will be warehoused, where they will be warehoused from all over the country. They'll be dropping there. So whenever a result is announced, the OB supporters will take a snap at it, send it, warehouse it to the collection center, so that at the end of the day, whatever is being sent to Abuja and what they have will be compared to make sure that they tallied. That is one of the ways to checkmate these riggers, the PDP and the APC. If these things are done effectively and PDP and the APC are stopped from rigging using technology, Mr. P2B is good to go to be the next president of Nigeria. So you take your time listening to some of these things I have said, share it widely, like this video, circulate it, and if you have not subscribed, please subscribe to this channel so that whenever we release any new video, you'll be among the first to know. God bless you.